Cumberland School Committee at 7:42 p.m. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I need a motion for approval of the agenda. So moved by Mr. Hess. Oh, we got someone taking minutes. Seconded by
Me.
Mr. Fiorello. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. 4-0. Please note for the record that Mr. Salvatore, Mrs. Bernardo, Mrs. Waters are absent from the meeting tonight. Thank you. All right. Next is student government report. Do we have student government report? We have none. So, Mr. Superintendent, would you like to move up your report?
I think that would be wonderful.
We can get these
We got a lot of
young
excitement here this evening.
children, done, and they can send them on their way.
All right, if you could join me down at the podium, Mr. Chairman, I'd appreciate it. I had to fix my button because I know we're going to take some pictures. So, everyone, this is Cadence Solon, and Cadence is a fifth grader at Ashton Elementary School. And I'm sure many of you already know this, but Cadence was selected by Governor Gina Raimondo as the governor for a day. So if I may, and then I'm going to ask that she give a speech about her experience. I'm only kidding, you don't have to do the speech. Cadence, a fifth grader at Ashton Elementary School, who dreams of one day being a math or special education teacher, was named the winner of her Women's History Month contest. As the winner, Cadence was the state's 2019 governor for a day, joining Governor Raimondo at the State House in early May. She wrote an essay on equal pay for women, the need for ESL and special education teachers, and school construction in Rhode Island. I quote, "Cadence wrote a fantastic essay about important issues facing our state," unquote, said Raimondo in a release. "Her passion for education is inspiring, and I can't wait for her to be sworn in as Rhode Island's 2019 governor for a day." In her essay, Cadence wrote, "Of all the things I would like to change, what I would start with is to have more teachers in school to help children that don't speak English or have disabilities. Just like we should support our communities with roads and bridges, also, we need to support our children's future and the world they live in. The way I would achieve this is by sitting down to talk with principals and leaders for schools all across Rhode Island to make sure we have enough space and enough special education teachers. This is important. This is important because to succeed, some students need help." On equal pay, she wrote that she would meet with major local companies about women's pay and benefits and hope to reach a reasonable agreement where equality is the main goal. "Men and women are equal, and their pay should show that," she wrote. And this is why, and for many reasons more, why Cadence was chosen as governor for a day. So I think we need to take a picture. So why don't we slide over? Well, let me. Okay, as you can see, we have a lot of excitement here with a number of students from Ashton Elementary School. And Ruth, can you come up, Ruth Furlan? Everyone, this is Ruth Furlan. She is a parent of one of the Ashton Elementary School students that are here this evening. And she was actively involved in organizing the first Lego League Junior at Ashton Elementary School. And Ashton's robotics team was selected to represent Rhode Island at the first World Festival in Detroit this past April. The team was selected from 37 teams in the state. This team is the team that was selected to go to Detroit. The Lego League Junior, they met at Ashton for over 10 sessions for an hour and a half after school on Mondays. These students were instructed by Coach Ruth Furland. She's a parent volunteer. With the support of our STEM teacher, you will have seen Monique Johnson here many times, is the STEM teacher there, and Mrs. Centraccio, another parent volunteer. So the first league, Lego League, is a worldwide league that provides challenges for teams around the world to complete. In this program, students explore scientific concepts through a real-world theme. The challenge this year was how to sustain life on the moon. And I've already met most of these children, and I think they could probably figure that out based on what I've seen so far. So with that, I'm going to have Ruth introduce the children who were involved in this impressive activity. You can take it.
Hi. So, Ruth Furland. I am the parent of Isabella and Ziano over there. And this is my field. I am an application development manager and a diversity and inclusion lead at Microsoft. So, this is my thing. I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, and I geek out with these kids. I am going to have them introduce themselves and tell them what grade you're in, and then Isabella here, who was the team lead throughout the season, she's going to explain a little bit about what they did.
I'm Isabella Furlan, and I'm in grade 4th going into 5th.
I'm Tristan Richard, and I'm in 3rd grade.
I'm Avery Centraccio, and I'm in 3rd grade. I'm Monisha, and I'm in 2nd grade.
I'm Dylan McQuinn, and I'm in 1st grade.
I'm Ziano Furlan, and I'm in 1st grade. So we are the Ashton Lego Moon team, and we all split up into groups. I was with Avery, Dylan was with, Tristan, and Monish was with Ziano. And we each did a part, and I did air with Avery. We did a planetarium because we know that trees take in carbon dioxide and blow out air. So we took a little thing that would blow out the air into all the rooms and activate something if we didn't have enough air to blow out air. Then we have energy, and we have our solar panel to collect energy and have this and the energy to spin this kind of like it spins, so that way we have more energy, and we have all these buttons to go into the whole moon base. Then we have a bathroom and everything. Then we also have water. I like water the best. It's really fun. We have our Milo, and he will detect ice. You want to press it? Stop him. And then he detects ice under the moon's surface, and this man will come and bring the ice back to a machine that has a hot lava ball that we use the energy to reheat, and the ice falls into a little thing that has the hot lava ball in, so it will melt the ice into water. Then we have little buckets of water just in case if we run out, and it will go into the pipes going into the planetarium and the bathroom and also the kitchen. When we were planning, which we can see over here, when we were designing, we went on the library's whiteboard and started drawing out our ideas. We wanted to make it very homey so that way our astronauts wouldn't get homesick because we found this a problem. So then we made itsy bitsy pieces of the moon base, and then we wrecked it. And then when it was time to make our moon base, we split up into groups and made water, energy, and air. Once we finished the moon base, we showed it to. We went to Detroit and had a blast there. Yeah. And then I got to show it to my class into the kindergarten room, which was really fun. And my brother got to show it to his first grade. So, yeah.
So I was going to say, thank you. I was going to say a little bit about what the program is about, but Mr. Mitchell did a phenomenal job summarizing everything. I'm just going to add in a little bit about it and what it stands for. So FIRST is actually an acronym like everything else in tech. It stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. It's a program that covers kindergarten through 12th grade. And so the kids can really grow with this program, and it's very established. It's been around for 30 years, and it's global. And considering how long it's been, it was really unfortunate that I found out earlier in the year that there's nobody really knows about it here in Northern Rhode Island. And up until this past season, there was never, ever a junior level team. So we ended up piloting it in Ashton. And it was great. The great thing, this was an awesome experience, not just for the kids, but also for the coach. This was my first time coaching this as well. And I mean, who wouldn't love Legos, really? You know, and you get to do this. But the great thing about this program is the kids solve real problems. They get to put their engineering hat and they go through the engineering methods and the steps, and they're faced with real world problems. That is the theme for whatever the theme is for the year. But most importantly, and I think it's because this is close to my heart at work, is that as an application development manager as well as the diversity and inclusion lead, is that most importantly, these kids were able to learn how to work together inclusively, respecting and embracing each other's differences. As you can see, they cover grades 1 through 4. There's many age differences here and cultural differences as well. And at the beginning of the program, they didn't really know each other for the most part. Most of them didn't know each other. By the end of the program, they were able to work cohesively like a well-oiled family. And I think that was one thing that was the most proudest of these kids. And if we're going to teach our future how to be inclusive and how to work with each other and meet the diversity gaps and so forth, then we need to put together teams like this and foster this types of program. So for next year, I encourage you, committee, and the rest of you, Cumberland citizens, to continue this program, not just in Ashton, but throughout the community. I'm not going to be around to take part, but I'm happy to help provide insights and help remotely from Kenya. Yes. So I'm moving in 2 weeks. My family's moving in 2 weeks to Kenya.
So we're gonna. Okay, so first of all, one of the things that we talk about all the time as educators is we have a responsibility to provide, I think, as many applied learning opportunities as possible for students. And it seems like, based on my extensive experience in education, that these are the kinds of things, learning opportunities and experiences, that really sticks, right? When you're given a problem and you have to work together as a team to solve the problem, I mean, that it really is the way that the world works. So good for all of you. Congratulations. You all did a really nice job, and you really represented our town exceptionally well. So we have, for all of you, a certificate. So Isabella, come on over. We have a certificate for you. Ziano, come on up. We have a certificate for you. Dylan, come on over. Avery. Tristan. And Monish. So thanks also. I mean, this would not have happened without people giving their time, a wealth of time, and really, we're really thankful for volunteers that provide special opportunities like this. So thank you, Ruth, so much. Thank you, Mrs. Centraccio. Is she here? Did I say that correctly? Thank you, and thank you, Monique. Thank you, Monique. So thank you all. Congratulations. You all did a wonderful job. Yes, no, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Let's get a picture over here. So let's stand on the steps.
Right. Thank you, Mrs. Galbonic. Just for the, Mr. Superintendent, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I just have one more thing that I'd like to share with the committee, Mr. Chairman, and the audience. As you know, we're still hoping for some guidance on the field trip guidance that was provided to us by the commissioner. And I received, after the email that I sent out to all of you last Friday, late that afternoon, all of the superintendents in our association received an email from Tom DiPaolo, our executive director, and he stated that there was going to be, before the end of the month, an opportunity for superintendents to meet with legal counsel. I believe it's going to be Ben Scungio, who is going to hopefully provide some guidance to all districts. So I will be attending one of those sessions, and hopefully we'll get some guidance that will help us in our decision-making about the kinds of field trips that we can do and perhaps can't do moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd just like to note for the record that our town council liaison, Michael Kinch, is here tonight, and we appreciate you coming. Thank you. All right, so next order in the business is consent agenda. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting on 5/9/2019. Approval of minutes from the executive session on 5/9/2019. I need a motion for the consent agenda to approve those.
Were the executive session
Is-
minutes in the folder? Sure, okay.
I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Fiorello, seconded by
Second.
Mrs. Friedman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 4-0. Next is report of the executive session meeting on 5/23/2019. There were no votes taken during the executive session, and I need a motion to seal the minutes.
Motion to seal.
Motion to seal by Mr. Hess, seconded by Mr. Fiorello. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 4-0. Next is report of standing committees, payment of bills. Mr. Hess.
We did not pay bills today.
There were no payment of bills. Next is fiscal management subcommittee update. Mr. Hess.
Okay, so fiscal did meet this evening. We discussed a number of topics. With regard to the ever-present student lunch debt, we have seen that stabilize since the change to policy. The primary concern at this point is seniors who have negative balances. That currently stands at $6,200 roughly. That's something that we want to have addressed before the seniors depart the school later on this year. The other major items that we chatted about, I'll take the resolutions first. So we had a resolution upstairs which passed on a 2-0 vote with regard to laptops for special education in the middle school, and then also a resolution regarding cleaning of ductwork, which will come up later. That also passed on a modified basis on a 2-0 vote. The major issue that we discussed, which took up most of the meeting, and I think is our primary focus as a committee, is the fiscal year 2020 budget. Based on the mayor's proposed budget for fiscal year 20, the school system would be looking at a $1.6 million discrepancy between what we wanted to do and what we would be funded at. What that means is we would need to make $1.6 million worth of cuts to the budget. The cuts proposed by the administration are sobering and, quite frankly, disheartening. We are not really in a position to be able to make cuts like this without dramatically impacting teaching and learning and the progress that we have made as a town and as a district. It's my sincere hope that we can work together with the town, with the mayor, with the town council to develop a budget that can meet the town's fiscal concerns after years of gross fiscal mismanagement, and still allow us to provide the services to our students that they not only deserve, but need in order to succeed. So with that in mind, there is a town council budget meeting this upcoming Tuesday, May 28th at 6 p.m. at the library. I would implore all parents, teachers, and anybody else who has a vested interest in right, but it is a discussion. Anybody that has an interest in that to attend that meeting to understand what we're looking at. And I think that pretty much covers fiscal from my standpoint.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hess. Next is Policy and Procedures Subcommittee update, Mr. Fiorello.
Yes, Policy and Procedures did meet on Tuesday night. We discussed two policies, both of which were voted on and forwarded to the full committee. One is the I-13 high school proficiency-based grading policy, which is a standards-based grading policy. And also the brand-new I-17 homework policy. Both of those policies had gone through extensive discussion through the Achievement Subcommittee. Thank you, Mrs. Friedman. And then they were just brought to policy for the actual nuts and bolts of the policy itself. So we'll be voting on those later on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Fiorello. Next is Achievement and Communications Subcommittee update. Mrs. Friedman.
Okay, so our subcommittee met also on Tuesday night, and Mr. Costa and Mr. Chandler gave us an overview of the implementation of the high school proficiency-based grading that will be fully implemented for the upcoming school year. And Mr. Costa and his team will be coming to the September 12th full school committee meeting to give an update to everyone on what this whole implementation means and how it's going. Our next meeting is on June 4th, and we'll be discussing the elementary school model and updates to that, as well as identifying future topics for the Achievement Subcommittee. One other thing that I want to add on to what Mr. Hess said, you know, it wasn't too long ago that we were here celebrating our achievement results. And as we look at where we're heading with the budget again this year, it is worrisome that we could be taking steps forward and now have to take steps back. So like Mr. Hess, I encourage people to attend not only the Finance Subcommittee meeting, which is on Tuesday night at the Hayden Center in room 1 at 6 o'clock, but also the Town Council meeting on Wednesday night, May 29th at 6:30, which is at Cumberland Town Hall. We will have some difficult decisions to make, not at either one of those meetings, but it's good for the public to show their support and to hear the challenges that the town is facing. And we have to all figure out how to come through this together. I spoke, that's correct, right? Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I gave you the right information. Thank you.
Okay, next is comments from the public. Is there anyone that would like to make a comment to the school committee? Kids are all gone. Hearing none, we'll move on to public hearings. Reading of amended policy. I-13, high school proficiency-based grading. B, reading of new homework policy, first reading. And I-17 homework policy. Mr. Fiorello, how would you like to take these, just as a read them into the?
Yeah, I would just ask that they be read into the record.
All right, so reading it into the record, I-13 high school proficiency-based grading, and the reading of the I-17 homework policy, first reading. Anyone wish to comment on those two policies? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Discussion and a vote to approve the amended policy, I-13 high school proficiency-based grading. Mr. Fiorello.
Yes, I-13 high school proficiency-based grading, which was worked on extensively by Mr. Dumana, Mr. Costa, and also their respective teams. This, as I said earlier, this policy, or at least the meat of the policy, was discussed in 2-3 meetings, Mrs. Friedman, of achievement, and then it was sent to policy, and I would make a motion to approve I-13 high school proficiency-based grading.
Mr. Fiorello makes a motion to approve I-13 high school proficiency-based grading. Do I have a second? Second by Mrs. Friedman. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it 4-0. Next is discussion and/or vote to approve the first reading new policy I-17 homework policy. Mr. Fiorello?
Yes, because I-17 is a brand-new policy, it requires 2 public hearings, excuse me, 2 public hearings before it could be enacted. And I don't know if we've done this in the past, but it's probably not a bad idea. I would make a motion to approve the first reading of the policy. And then at our next meeting, we would vote on it again to actually enact it.
Mr. Fiorello makes a motion. I don't think this is going to be necessary, but he makes a motion to approve the first reading of the new policy. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Hess. Any discussion? All in favor? Ayes have it 4-0. Next is discussion and/or vote to approve resolutions SC PR 5 2019-09, purchase of laptops for special education, elementary and middle schools. Mr. Hess.
Okay, so this is a resolution for purchase of laptops for special education, elementary and middle schools. This is in 2 parts for $29,453.18 to Hub Technical Services for the middle school and special ed laptops and desktops, and $38,373.43 to CDI for elementary Chromebook cart replacements. That's a total of $67,826.61. My math is accurate. This did pass upstairs on a 2-0 vote, and I would move passage here as well.
Mr. Hess moves passage of SC PR 5 2019-02 for the laptops for special education, elementary and middle schools. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Fiorello. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it 4-0. Next is SCPR 5 2019-09, cleaning of ductwork at schools district-wide. Mr. Hess.
Okay, so the administration brought to our attention that the ductwork in the buildings has not been cleaned in recent memory. This is something that needs to be done on a regular basis for cleanliness and health of the overall HVAC system. We did amend this slightly upstairs. The overall cost estimate to do all of the schools district-wide was just shy of $200,000. Given the financial situation we're in, we felt that that was a bit too much to look at now. We did, however, approve a slightly smaller resolution for this in the amount of $8,515 to handle the CHS cafeteria and $50,865 for CHS itself, and then look at the rest of it further on down the road. This did pass upstairs on a 2-0 vote, and I leave it up to the committee to decide how they want to handle it from here.
So do you have a recommendation to pass this?
I
Upstairs
would,
2-0?
yeah, I would recommend passage.
Mr. Hess recommends passage. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Fiorello. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. This is being awarded to Duct and Vent Cleaning of America, who had come off the Massachusetts state bid list, and they're used by Sedesco throughout the country, including in Attleboro, so that's the name of the company we're awarding the amount. The total is $59,380 for the high school and the cafeteria. All right, next is personnel recommendations.
Good evening. I bring forth two retirements and one resignation this evening. I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the retirement of Trudy Grau, grade 2 teacher at Community School, with an effective date of June 30th, 2019, after 25 years of service. I also request the advice and consent of the school committee on the retirement of David Rosen, special education teacher at Cumberland High School, with an effective date of June 30th, 2019, after 12 and a half years of service.
I need a motion to accept the retirements of Trudy Grow and David Rosen.
I will make a motion to approve.
Mr. Fiorello makes a motion to approve. Second by Mr. Hess. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it 4-0. Next is the resignation.
I request the advice and consent of the school committee on the resignation of Kayla Lewis, special education teacher at B.F. Norton School, effective June 30th, 2019.
Okay, so we have a resignation of Kayla Lewis, effective June 30th. I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Hest, seconded by Mrs. Friedman. Any discussion? All in favor? Ayes have it 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is school committee comments, school liaison reports. Anyone? Mr. Fiorello.
I just want to reiterate, with the budget that we are going to be discussing with the town starting next week, it's just completely disheartening. We've worked so hard to get to the point where we are now one of the top schools in the state, and we are going to have to make some deep cuts in order to balance our budget, and it is going to have a detrimental effect on teaching and learning.
Anyone else? I would just like to say, last week I wrote a letter to the Valley Breeze, and it was, for me only, not my school committee. Other school committee members endorsed that letter. Maybe I was a little harsh with Mr. Mutter, the mayor, in regards to proposing a level funding of the budget for the schools. And like Mr. Fiorello says, it's tough, and we don't want to lose people next week if we have to take those votes, and it's going to hurt throughout the district. And my apologies to Mr. Mutter if I offended him in any way in writing the letter, but we need to get the public out to these budget meetings again like we did a few years ago to keep the school district going forward. So thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, do we have anything for executive session?
No, we do not, Mr.
We
Chair.
do not. I need a motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned by Mr. Hess. Second by Mrs. Friedman. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it 4-0. Thank you. See you next Tuesday.